this was unbelievable.
Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Gourmet Packers all-time leading rusher. You're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_Access. We are live on X, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Joined alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. We got Tim in Green Bay. I'm down here in Redneckville, USA, a.k.a. Tennessee, here to talk some Packers. We got an awesome show for y'all tonight. We're going to just kind of lay out a little bit of the training camp schedule. Really excited about day one. Matt Schneidman to put some breadcrumbs out there on how that's all going to unfold before practice. We get the huge news of the Zach Tom contract extension. Really excited to break all that down with the breaking news. We also have a wide receiver signing, and you guys know typically when a wide receiver is signed, or not just a wide receiver, but a lower stature player that maybe is an undrafted free agent, I usually don't get like all giddy over it. This one kind of piqued my interest a little bit because he had a little bit of success in the SEC, went to Colorado. We'll talk about the Will Shepherd signing. Also, a little bit of kicker news. I know Tim's excited about that.
Here's the guy.
If we have time, we'll kind of give you guys an update on the Shamar Stewart debacle out there in Cincinnati as the owner has now spoken. But before we get into all that, need you guys to do that YouTube stuff for us. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. We appreciate you making us a part of your evening. We're not experts. We're not insiders here. We're not media members. What we are just fans just like you out here talking Packers on a daily basis. We'll be giving you guys live updates throughout training camp, random live streams, middle of the day, live streams every evening. We'll also be doing pregame shows, postgame shows all year long, film breakdown, the whole 9 yards. So if you like daily Packers content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe for us. We appreciate y'all hanging out. The chat is already on fire. Thanks to everybody in there. Let's jump into the news of the day, gents, if that sounds all right with you guys. Let's start with this. Let's get this out of the way real quick. Only going to take a few seconds. Matt Schneidman put this tweet out to give everybody kind of a little preview of what Wednesday's going to be like, as it's like Christmas around here, man. When training camp gets cranked up, I get so giddy, man. Packers kick off training camp availability on Wednesday. So at 9:20 a.m. Central Time, Brian Gutekunst will be at the podium. So we'll hear from Goody at 9:20, Matt LaFleur at 9:50. Right before he goes straight out onto the field, probably rides a bike over to the practice field. You guys know how that goes. And we'll have our first public practice at 10:30 a.m. After practice, open locker room to the media. So we're going to be hearing from all the players. It's going to be really, really exciting stuff to get into that with day one. Now, with that being said, let's get into the topic of the day. And I thought this was really cool. This is very, very telling, watching Instagram blow up as the news broke earlier that Zach Tom got his contract extension.
Pay that man his money.
And they did. So Jordan Love and Carrington Valentine both shared the same Instagram on their Instagram story from Tom Pelissero talking about Zach Tom's extension, right? I just said, Jordan Love and Carrington Valentine sharing the Zach Tom story on their Instagram stories. No doubt Zach Tom is a glue guy for the Packers, man. It really says a lot about how this team feels about Zach Tom. We're going to get into all of the details of this contract. You already seen some people kind of misreporting on the contract. They got a few of the rankings and numbers a little bit off. We'll go off of Spot Tracks numbers, but obviously a 4-year extension. Jacob, I know you've been out of the fold a little bit, man. Me and Tim, we've been talking about this for a while. We're ready to get Zach Tom under contract. I know you got to hear the numbers, but on the surface, how do you feel about this sign?
Pay that man his money.
That's a new one. Tim. Tim's got a new toy to play with. I'm ecstatic. I am just happy that it happened when it did. There's no reason to drag any sort of drama into the actual, we're starting to, it's so crazy how fast the summer went by. And like Tim, it could be we're almost a month away from that possible Seattle game, which is crazy to even think about that. I believe the first one, August 9th. I mean, guys, we are almost right there. The fact that they got this locked up, that there's no more drama, at least with the Zach Tom, discussion. It's more than I could have expected on a Monday. So I'm just happy to get it going, man.
Yeah, Ed Madden in the chat says everything starts falling into place once that first one gets done. As we talked about, Tim, Malik Willis potentially. We'll see how that goes. They may just let him play the contract out. Rasheed Walker might potentially get re-signed. We'll see how that goes.
Big E.
Christian Watson. You've got Quay Walker, Romeo Dobbs. These are all names. I'm not saying we should sign all those guys. I'm just saying those are the names that could be the next one that comes down the pike with an extension. And like Tim said, with Elton Jenkins, probably not looking to give him an extension. I could be wrong. I think they're going to kind of sweeten the pot a little bit with some more guaranteed money to make it worth his time with that position change. But what do you think, Tim? Zach Tom, 4-year deal, man. Let's go.
Love it, baby. Love it. You know it. We've been talking about this for what, 2-3 months now? I was ready for this moment, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago. So I'm happy. But I think you're right. You know, when it comes to Elton Jenkins, on the other side of the coin here, I think it's probably a rework or a restructure. You know, nothing too crazy long term, but I'm happy for Zach Tom. He deserves it. He's got the bag. I'm sure we'll break down the specifics here as we move forward, but really happy for him right now.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. All right, let's get into the details here. Tom Pelissero was the first one I seen report at the Packers, and offensive tackle Zach Tom have agreed to terms on a historic 4-year, $88 million contract extension with a max value of $92 million, sources tell the insiders. The deal includes
that man his money.
a $30.2 million signing bonus, which is the largest signing bonus for an offensive lineman in the history of the NFL. The deal was done by Michael Hoffman and Nate Sullivan of Sports Law and Management, also known as SLAM, and he tagged at Mr. Hoffy. All right, that sounds like one of the guys that works in the club with you, Jacob, Mr. Hoffy. But you could tell this information came from the agent side because notice the key words here, guys. You've got historic 4-year, $88 million, right? And then a max value of $92 million, and then a signing bonus, which is the largest signing bonus of all offensive linemen, right? So
let's get to the real numbers.
Yeah, exactly. So just a couple other people reporting on it. Bill Huber been on a heater today, man. If you guys aren't following him on Twitter, he's just got the quickest, easiest read articles. He gets you the information you need to know. He had a quote in his article. It said, quote, "It was a long and tough journey that began at the combine," Tom's agent Michael Hoffman told Packers on SI. In the end, this is where Zach wanted to be, and we were able to bridge the gap and get the deal done. I feel comfortable in saying Zach could have got a lot more money, not a lot more, a significant amount of money more than the Packers gave him. It feels like this is a very team-friendly deal, in my opinion. We'll break down why we think that. Now, Jason Wilde also put out a tweet and said he's got an article over at Channel 3000. Make sure you go check it out. It says, when we asked Packers right tackle Zach Tom if he'd sit out practices without a new deal, he replied, quote, "I don't really think it'll do me any good to sit out. The contract situation will take care of itself." Jacob, that's who you want in your locker room right there, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's the epitome of what being a team player is, knowing that if you are going to be that type of character that Green Bay, obviously when you draft somebody, you expect them to be a certain type of character player. And then when it comes time for contracts, you know, I think he did what was probably the best thing a Packer player could do. Just keep his head down, play good football. Don't drum up drama in the media. Be thankful of the community and the chance that you've got. And like you said, I really do believe if he wanted to be, you know, a certain type of person, he could have went out, played some games in the media, had his agent call other teams, did the whole, you know, one-upping sort of thing. You know, I've got this coming from this team, this coming from that team. He just seemed very, I'm content. I understand what I have here. I think, too, he understands that window we talk about, he can't just go to any other team and guarantee that he's going to be in that window of being possibly a team that's going to actually go to the Super Bowl and contend for championships. I think that he sees what he has here, the surrounding cast, specifically on that offensive line, too. I can't remember who it was that just said once one starts, you know, it kind of gets the ball rolling. And that's true. I mean, you guys know how I feel about Rasheed. I always will love Big E. We got a bunch of young guys now that if they can fill in that gap, if we have 3 solid out of the 5 that we don't even have to really worry about. And then if 1 or 2 other guys can pop in and really be successful on offensive line, we got ourselves a top 5 offensive line, guys. I'm not even afraid to say that. So for the money, I think you're going to get into it right here. You guys know me, Cheapskate McGee. I'll take a team-friendly deal any day of the week.
Yeah, and diving into the numbers here, Tim. So Zach Tom, average annual value of $22 million per year, lands him 10th in the NFL. If he reaches the max value of $92 million, he would be 9th in the NFL. As you can see here, Tristan Wirfs 28.1, Penei Sewell 28, Trent Williams 27.5, Christian Darrisaw 26, Lane Johnson 25, Laramie Tunzel 25, Trey Smith 23.5, the highest paid guard in the NFL at the moment. Andrew Thomas 23.5, Jake Matthews 22.5, Jordan Mailata 22, tied with Zach Tom there in the number 10 spot. 22 million average annual value. Now, again, take the total contract, right? The extension. We're just focused on the extension itself right now, not the final year of the deal worked in with it, because it's like a $3 million hit or whatever's all. So when you look at it, though, Tim, this shakes out pretty nice average annual value. We'll get into the guarantees here in a second and talk about how we always do. A 4-year deal is really a 3-year deal, so on and so forth.
Yeah, in case you were wondering how I feel about it.
Pay that man his money.
Tim said pay him again.
What is that, Tim? Where's that from?
That's Teddy KGB, baby. John Malkovich, Rounders. Google it, baby. Let's go.
I know what it is.
Yeah, you know what it is. You're a film buff. I love it. But hey, we've been talking about it for months. I don't care, man. This is great. And at the end of the day, like Jacob was saying, man, it solidifies the O-line, at least in the respect of right tackle / emergency second or third string center, depending on how things pan out. Zach Tom can play anywhere on this O-line. I'm glad he got the bag, and I'm glad he's going to be here. And I'll say it one more time.
Pay that man his money.
And again, if you paid him a little bit more than he got, that extra value you just talked about, Tim, of being able to play all 5 positions on the offensive line, it's worth it. So the fact that we got him for the price we did, I'm really, really happy about. Let's go to the
Almost
chat.
Seems like we got a discount, right?
Yeah, it does. Chris the Casual in says team friendly for sure. Completely agree with that, Chris. Packers Kingdom say, Clayton, you called it. You said if it's 18 to 20 per, lock him up. Yeah, and for me, man, the number 25 I would have been all right with, to be honest with you, because Zach Tom is that good. Now, Rasheed Walker, a little bit different story, right? The run blocking is a little suspect, but still a solid tackle as well. But yeah, let's see here. Coach Lynn says for Tom, that's a steal. He's still getting better. That's another great point. I mean, when you look at the PFF grades, he's ascending as he's, continuing to play his career. And what's crazy is he was injured last year as well and continues to get better working through that injury, which is wild to think about. Ed Madden says a Morgan team friendly. Coach Lynn says if Elton Jenkins is playing hardball, move Tom to center and put Morgan at right tackle. That's the thing too, man. You get this locked up, you kind of win the PR battle with the Elton Jenkins situation, because look, hey, we're not afraid to pay our guys. Elton, you already got your deal, right? I think they should give him a little bit more guaranteed money. I do. That's me personally.
I agree. That's all he's looking for, right? He says, hey, you want me to move it to center? I'm getting, towards the later stages of my career. Give me some guaranteed money and I'll do it.
Because do I understand do I understand correctly that he's got 2 years left on the deal, but there's no guaranteed money left in those 2 years? Is that what he's griping?
Yeah, the no guarantee, people are saying that. It's not that there's no guarantee left, but because what you got is you got practical guarantee and actual guarantee. The actual guarantee is pretty much all but over, Jacob. So yeah, you could kind of say that. The big thing is
2 years left on the deal means 1 year left on the deal, right?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Now they can basically cut bait this year if they wanted to. Obviously, they're not wanting to. Next year they cut bait. I think they free up $20 million in cap space, Jacob. So essentially, the majority of the cap penalty has already been absorbed. So if you cut him out right next year, if you decide to move on, you're going to free up $20 million, and you're off the races running with whoever it is, Anthony Belton, like you said, maybe Zach Tom to center, or Jacob Monk steps in the center row. You went and got Anthony Belton. You already drafted Jordan Morgan as well. So you could tell from his perspective, the writing's on the wall. This is how the Packers do business. And, me personally, the level of play that Elton Jenkins has had the last couple of years, he's been good. Don't take this the wrong way. But he peaked 4 years ago, right? Yeah. So you can kind of see him on the decline, and you know how the Packers are. They would rather cut bait 1 year early rather than 1 year too late. Deadfish says seems very reasonable on the Zach Tom contract. Completely agree. When you look at the guaranteed money, the signing bonus here, right? And it's not all the guarantee, but the signing bonus is, bang, here's what he gets up front. This is pretty much the actual guarantee that we talk about, right? His $30.2 million signing bonus lands him second in the NFL. So they up the guarantee money. Remember what we always talk about, guys, cash over cap. You look at the cap hits are going to look really pretty, probably on average somewhere around $20 to $23 million, something like that, which is really, really nice across the league. But how did you do that? You gave a little more guaranteed money with the 30.2 cash over cap, right? And essentially Orlando Brown Jr. with the Bengals, $31.1 million was the highest signing bonus so far. Zach Tom comes in number 2 at 30.2, then Will Campbell, 28.3, Trent Williams, 25.6, and then Dan Moore, 25.5. Does that make sense with the guaranteed money though, fellas? What we're talking about here?
Yeah. Didn't that article that you kind of alluded to the fact that the agent may have wrote it? Didn't he say that it was the biggest signing bonus of all time though?
He did, didn't he?
The largest, the most best of all time in history.
You caught that too, didn't you? Well, Spot Track disagrees, but you know what?
I can't believe you didn't do the accent when you said that, Jacob.
Well,
try that again.
The greatest, the best. That's what they say. I don't say that. That's what people tell me.
So, anyway, yeah, that's a great point, Jacob. And again, you're talking about a $500,000 difference, right? Why not? As they say down here in the South, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how that. PFF has Tom as the 6th highest graded offensive tackle overall in the NFL. You got Jordan Mailata with a 95.2, Rashawn Slater 90.9, Penei Sewell 89, Terran Armstead 89, Lane Johnson 88, and then Zach Tom at 85. But this is what really grabs my attention. You try to read between the lines with how the Packers are building their roster and more specifically their offensive line in the current moment. They went from smaller offensive linemen to a little bit bigger offensive lineman, right? And what I mean by that is you go and you sign Jordan Morgan, right? Jordan Morgan's an absolute tank, whatever he is, 6'5", 6'6", 330 pounds, whatever he played at.
Thick.
That big Escalade out of NC State, right? 6'6", 336, I think.
Thick.
Him listed at. So you're going bigger on the offensive line in that regard. Zach Tom's a little bit smaller in stature. However, why are you going bigger on offensive line? I think it's to run more duo. Well, look at Zach Tom's run blocking grade. PFF has Tom as the 3rd highest graded offensive tackle in run blocking, recording 0 penalties as well. He had no run blocking penalties. All right. And he finished 3rd at 87.8. The only offensive tackles that had a higher run blocking grade than him were Penei Sewell at 91 and Jordan Mailata with the Eagles at 94. So with that being said, I don't think it's a coincidence either. Look at where Zach Tom's run blocking is. And the 2 teams that we're chasing right now, the Detroit Lions in the North and the Eagles that knocked us out of the playoffs and won the Super Bowl last year, are the only 2 teams that have players with a higher run blocking grade than Zach Tom at the moment. So the Jordan Morgan signing and free agency, and then the Anthony Belton draft pick, along with Zach Tom's elite run blocking grade, was get ready for more duo. And his zone blocking grade was in the 90s, and duo is a form of zone blocking as well. So, yes, Deadfish says Aaron Banks is big too. He's a Hoss cat, no doubt. So that penalty, though, that kind of caught me off guard. I didn't expect him to have 0 penalties last year in the run game. That's pretty cool.
Love it.
I didn't notice that. Yeah, that's a good call.
All right, moving along. As we await the specific salary cap allocations of the new deal, a good gauge would be $22 million per. Now, listen, the first year, what they'll probably do is this year, he's whatever he is against the cap, 3.1 million, 3.3 million, something like that. You'll probably see that number, I would imagine, inflate. They'll because you got all this cap space. Let's take a good chunk of that, allocate it to this year, and that'll lower the cap number for the next 2 years. On kind of in the mid range and on the backside. And then guess what that sets you up for, gentlemen? Year 4, you can get out of it if you need to. Not that they want to. Hopefully Zach Tom earns another contract. You know what I mean? That's what we're hoping for. But that's what you're doing. You're front loading a little bit and smoothing that out on the backside there. So anyway, Zach Tom has been the most underpaid starting offensive tackle in the NFL since arriving in Green Bay. I feel confident saying that. You can see the placeholders here for the new contract. The cap hit this year looks like was $3.5 million. So again, I think that will inflate a bit, and that's going to be an estimate. But his past contract, guys, he's been a starter since he came in the league, right? In 2022, $831,000 was his cap hit.
That's crazy.
2023, $996,000. 2024, $1.1 million. Goody cooked. I repeat, Goody cooked. So that's pretty much the end of the article we put together over in our Patreon group. Chris Ian just commented, said, historic signing bonus to reward Tom massively as he deserves, but yet comes in 10th in the league, which for a top 3 right tackle, a very solid deal for Goot. And he said balls. I think he did that on purpose.
I
Thank
love
you,
it.
Chris. Appreciate you. Great work. All
We
right.
should give a quick shout out to Pack Daddy, Mr. Ryan Schlipp too, calling this one way far ahead of anyone
Or the
else.
draft.
Yeah,
right?
before the draft, nailing this 4th round pick with Zach Tom. Here we are, a few seasons removed, and he's getting the bag. So we gotta salute to Pack Daddy, Packernet Zone for sure, calling this one a mile away.
Really
Yeah.
did, man.
If you guys remember-
draft process. Jacob, me and you covered the draft together that year, didn't we?
Yes.
Man, he was all over it.
I was gonna say, if you guys remember, we draft coverage. That was basically like my biggest. It'd be when Bullard got drafted, I lost my mind, and also I was a big Christian Watson fan. And during that draft, so was his son. And then when Zach Tom went, because he was talking him up for weeks and weeks before the draft, and kind of saying like, who is this guy? Like, why do I like him so much? He looks really, really great, blah, blah, blah. And then when that 4th round pick came in, that's the happiest I've ever seen, Ryan.
All right,
Other than
so
when he's barbecuing. Yeah.
Yeah, hey, and let me tell you something, man. He dropped in at our draft party there in Green Bay, Wisconsin, before we all went over for day 2, I believe it was, and he brung a pork butt's what it was, smoked pork butt.
Yeah,
I'm just
me,
telling you.
me and the missus had the leftovers. We appreciate every single drop of that. That was delicious.
I woke up Sunday morning at about 2:45 a.m. standing in the kitchen with grease on my hands and didn't know what was going on. I'm like, how did I get in here? And I was just tearing into it. Bro, it's unbelievable. So there's your Zach Tom update. Let's move it along now to another bit of news that dropped today, and that was this signing right here of wide receiver Will Shepherd on the eve of training camp. So, Jacob, you usually get excited about these bottom of the roster guys, right? Like I remember you getting excited about Ben Sims and me rolling my eyes going, I guess we'll talk about Jay if you want to talk about it. He's probably going to be gone at camp. Now he's one of my favorite players on the team. I think he's an unsung hero. So Will Shepherd, one of these players, I think he's going to be interesting to see how he does. Now, let's just kind of talk about the details of everything, a little bit of roster, everything in between. Team and timing, the Green Bay Packers signed rookie wide receiver Will Shepherd one day before their full roster reported for training camp as a part of their ongoing roster building efforts. Player background, Shepherd played 4 seasons at Vanderbilt with 43, 47, and 60 receptions. Guys, that looks pretty ascending, does it not? Improving every year. In his final 3 years there before transferring to Colorado for his final college season under coach Deion Sanders. Colorado performance. At Colorado, Shepherd caught 48 passes for 621 yards, averaged 12.9 yards per catch, and 6 touchdowns, playing alongside stars like Travis Hunter and quarterback Shedeur Sanders. His career stats over 5 college seasons, Shepherd amassed 200 receptions, 2,688 yards, 27 touchdowns with notable drop percentages of 4.1% in 2020. 4.8% in 2022, by higher rates in prior years at 16.1 in 2023 and 10.4 in 2022. So you even seen the drop rate go down, and that by definition is another aspect of an ascending performance as he's entering the league, right?
Here's the guy.
Coaches praise. Deion Sanders praised Shepherd's NFL potential at Colorado's Pro Day, highlighting his consistency, ability to win 50-50 balls, and strong character, calling him a tremendous asset. In high school, at Mandeville High School, Shepherd recorded 62 receptions for 1,276 yards and 24 touchdowns in his senior year and averaged 20 points per game in basketball. Coach's endorsement, Devin Gonzalez, a former Vanderbilt assistant now with the Seattle Seahawks, described Shepherd as one of the most physically gifted and dominant high school wide receivers he had coached. Roster context, the Packers returned their top 6 receivers from the previous season, added McCole Hardman, and drafted Matthew Golden and Savion Williams, creating a competitive receiver room with 13 players. As I read that part right there, guys, it just kind of feels like there's more and more of a chance that Romeo Doubs could get dealt before the season, because this receiver room, I'm not expecting.
I just caught the ball.
We know where Tim stands there. It just feels like, I know he's not going to make the roster. I know Will Shepherd's not going to make the roster, But it seems like, Tim, they're setting themselves up on the backside of the roster at the practice squad to have 3 or 4 guys where they feel comfortable by the end of camp. You got these 2 you can stash. You know?
How is nobody like through the roof excited about this? I see a lot of like, oh, we got so many receivers. What are we doing? Blah, blah, blah. Are you kidding me? We are in a position, going into training camp to come out of training camp with arguably the best wide receiver room in the NFC for sure. I think this is great. Like you said, Clay, it adds depth. Worst case scenario, he's a practice squad guy. Best case scenario, he blows the doors off of Ray Nitschke Field and impresses everybody. And we've got a more competitive wide receiver room. I love this. This is a great move right here.
Yeah. Jacob, am I wrong there, man? Listen, Dobbs is one of our more consistent wide receivers, right? Great catch rate. Obviously, he doesn't have blazing speed or anything, but you could put him in the X, let him play in the phone booth. He's going to create enough separation. He got strong hands to make the catch. But am I wrong? Do you agree it kind of feels like maybe they are going to move on from Dobby, or do you think they'll keep him around, man?
I actually – easy now, easy. I actually do agree. As you were talking, I put up Respect Oranges. He said this right before you brought it up live here. He said possible trade on Dobbs. And, I really do like Dobbs. I do. And I think either the coaches or maybe somebody in his life talked to him, because I don't know if you've watched any of the Packers content on their – like he seems much more engaged, much more energetic, much more talking. But even they just did a tribute today that they released on the Green Bay Packers YouTube page where they were given like a send off to why did they just blank Mark Murphy. Mark Murphy, thank you, Tim. And they had him and Jordan Love and Rashawn Gary and a few others, and he was much more. He just seemed much more energetic and like I always compare Romeo Dobbs. He has like the personality of Eeyore. You know what I mean? And it's like, why are you so down in the dumps? I don't understand if it's like he's a younger kid. He thinks it's cool. Like, don't show emotion, whatever it is. But after a while, people just start to kind of grow away from that, and it makes it easier to fathom the fact that, yes, we may be able to let you go, man. Whatever reason, you just seem like you're not enjoying football in Wisconsin here. But I do say, I mean, dude, the 6 that we would hope that would make the team, and then our backup squad, the practice squad, I should say, if anything happens as far as injury goes, it's nice to know that we have an absolute deep well to go into. I saw somebody in the chat talking about how could we package multiple receivers and try to go out and do a trade kind of thing. I mean, I don't see that realistic, but I do think that once we get closer to the start of the season, once we get some training camp injuries from other teams as well, that might be a little more tempting, especially if we, I don't know if we could get more than like a 4th or something for him. If somebody offered us like a 3rd, I hate to say it, but I'd probably take that deal.
And as big of a Rome fan as you guys know I am, we've talked about it for 3 years that the likelihood that we were going to keep Rome and Scoot is minimal. Yeah. One of those two is probably going to not be a Packer long term, and I think it's fair to think that maybe Rome is that guy. That being said, I hope it's not true. I hope he stays Packer for life because I love Romy Rome. You guys know that.
Dude, he's grown on me a lot, man. I've liked him since day one, but just seeing him battle through what he battled through last year, I wouldn't mind for him being on the team either. I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, it just sometimes you get that thought, that feeling like, hey, it might be something here. Now, someone sent this over to me earlier today, right? And this was tweeted out by @NFL Player Pulse. Packers Romeo Dobbs via his Instagram stories with the song Daykeeper, a song about uncertainty and breaking free from obscurity. Last year, Dobbs was suspended after complaints for his role in the offense. Could we see Dobbs traded soon? So he tweeted this out, and just a picture of Steph Curry just kind of sitting there off to himself, just kind of sad looking. I don't know, man. It was just like, I don't know how you guys catch this stuff. Like, but somebody.
I will play devil's advocate. It could be the other way around. Maybe he's got clarity and he's got a more defined role now. And for all we know, there is no trade. Yeah. Just saying.
It's Steph Curry in his prime was lethal. I mean,
he was a bad man. Exactly.
Do you
and also coincidentally enough, in his prime, a pretty soft-spoken guy until later in his career became a little more of a vocal leader. Just like Jacob was saying, we've seen a little bit of Rome kind of coming out of his shell a little bit here. So You know, read into subliminal tweets all you want. It could go either way. That's my
Can you guys in the chat answer this question? Coach Len just posed. He goes, I'd keep Watson if I had to have the choice. So in the chat, let us know real quick. Would you keep, if you had to take one, Watson or Dobby? Which one are you going with?
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to try to throw a poll question up right now. Which would you rather keep, right? Which would you keep talking?
Yeah. Chris.
His receiving it's tough.
Chris said, didn't we just sign another wide receiver? Yep. I'm assuming you joined a little late, Chris. We just talked about it. The guy from Colorado who played at Vanderbilt for the bulk of his career. I did not know that, but Will Shepard, I believe, was his name. So we are plumb deep at the wide receiver position. All right, we got some people answering in here. It seems to be Watson by a landslide.
Yeah. And you guys go vote for me. All right. We just put a poll question up here on YouTube. So we'll try to, if you guys will remind me at the end, I'll tally that up as well. I think it'll be Watson. He'll run away with it. But again, man, there's nothing wrong with keeping Romeo Doubs around, letting him play his contract out and having that extra, chemistry that Jordan's had all along the way for sure. But back to Will Shepard here and kind of the roster moves. So roster moves, the Packers released 2 young defensive linemen prior to signing Shepard, meaning no additional roster move was needed to accommodate him. Training camp outlook, the upcoming training camp starting July 22nd will determine which receivers earn spots on the 53-man roster or the 16-man practice squad. Now, when you look at the RAS for Will Shepard coming out of college, he officially measured in at the combine at 6'2.5". All right. Ooh. His weight was 203. His overall RAS was an 8.72. All right. His vertical jump 40.5 inches, which scored a 9.74. His broad jump 10.06, scoring an 8.73. Now the 40-yard dash was a 4.59, so he's not a speed guy, right? That scored just a 4.82. 20-yard split at a 2.84, scored a 5.9, and then the 10-yard split was the strength. So he has a little more burst off the line as opposed to long end speed. With a 6.64 score there on the 1.58 10-yard split. And the shuttle wasn't horrible either, 4.31 scoring a 5.25. However, overall RAS 8.72 has a lot to do with a 6'2.5" frame. This screams to me a Malik Heath, someone like that, who's going to be on the practice squad for the next 2 to 3 years, what it feels like.
Or even just looking at the RAS numbers, it screams like I understand why people are saying, oh my God, is Rome trade bait? Because, I mean, you look at this RAS score, you look at the physical attributes, we know he's not the fastest guy, but, look at everything else on the RAS score. I mean, it's comparable to a guy like Romeo Doubs. So maybe he's not going to jump off the chart on you, but could be, one of those possession receivers that you're looking for, 6'1" or above, long-term type of dude. I can see the logic why people are automatically turning their gears thinking maybe Rome's trade bait. Honestly, looking at this, but I'm with you, Clayton. I think, probably practice squad, hopefully, at best.
And when you look at the PFF grade, starting in 2020, minimal snaps. This is in college, of course, with Vanderbilt, 63.8. 2021, he became a starter or played the majority of the snaps, 62.2. 2022, he got all the way up to a 75.2 PFF grade. Really solid grade there. 2023 took a slight step back to 68. And then 2024, on that somewhat more loaded roster, I think you would say, than Vanderbilt, speaking in that regard at Colorado, a 60.8 there. So he lines up out wide. Last year, 715 snaps. He was in the slot, only 29 snaps. So this is a guy who's probably going to play X, I would imagine. X or Z. He's kind of that bully X is what it feels like. But yeah, that's the PFF grades there. And again, they had him listed at 6'3". Obviously, the RAS card said he was a little under 6 foot. 3. What do you think, Jacob, after looking at everything here? Do you feel like it's just going to be a practice squad guy? Do you think there's a chance he could fight for a spot on the 53, or is that receiver room just a little too loaded? I'll pull the depth chart up for you here, too, as I ask you that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know I love the underdogs, the UDFAs, the late-round draft picks, all that jazz, for sure. I don't think that there's a snowball's chance in hell that he cracks the 53 this year. I do think, though, that they are setting themselves up to have, again, a Malik Heath, even like a Cornelius Johnson, somebody where it's like, we don't know exactly their potential. I think we know obviously more of Malik Heath, but there's about 5 or 6 dudes that right now are on this team that aren't starters, from Julian Hicks to Cornelius Johnson, even Sam Brown Jr. You add in what could be the tweener of Bo Melton, Malik Heath, and then adding Will Sheppard to that group. I mean, that just makes me feel very confident that no matter what happens going into this season, no matter what injuries that hit that wide receiver room, we still have a fighting chance, and not like I think that we have a legitimate chance, which is crazy to say, that if one of our receivers goes down, the guy that replaces him is possibly better. And that's crazy to say that, but it's possible.
Right. Tim, what do you think, man? Will Sheppard practice squad, or is he got a shot for the 53?
Well, I think just a few short days ago, we were talking about, was McCall Hardman going to be on the 53 or maybe?
Right.
So, I mean, I think
no chance, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of talent here. Like I said, I'm leaning towards practice squad for him. But to Jacob's point, man, I mean, there's a competitive receiver room here. And this is what I think the emphasis was, the focus, put an emphasis on making a competitive receiver room as you go into camp, because, we can be bulletproof when it comes to injuries. Hell, we've got guys injured going into this season in our receiver room. So it makes perfect sense to make it competitive. Honestly, though, Sheppard looks like a guy that, unless he absolutely, like I said, blows the doors off at training camp, I don't know, or maybe becomes a special team ace, something like that. When you get a competitive room, you got to look at the versatility factor of a lot of these guys, and who brings more than one attribute to the game. And those are the guys that might play their way onto the roster. But at the end of the day, I don't see Will Sheppard making the 53 over a guy like McCall Hardman, Malik Heath, or hell, even Bo Melton for that matter.
His receiving is tough.
I think very well said, man. So we're all on the same page there. I think he's going to be playing for a spot on that practice squad. And again, I'm excited to see what Malik Heath can do. You guys know I've been pretty vocal. If I had to choose between Malik Heath and Bo Melton, I'm going Malik Heath, just to be honest with you, man.
Agreed.
His catch rate over expected is led the team in catch rate over expected.
The fact that he's an absolute dog.
Yeah, he can block.
He can block.
Emilio
in the water cooler.
That's right. Built the ass block too, man. Sure. So.
Real quick before we move on from Will Sheppard, Coach Len was asking, why did Sheppard not pass his physical in Tampa Bay? So I'm assuming maybe he was a UDFA over there, and that they is that what happened?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Ass. Real quick. Keep talking for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, you go back to what we were just talking about Malik Heath and how valuable he is. We mentioned earlier about how the offensive line is getting bulkier and bigger because we want to emphasize the ability to run. How much do you think the ability to run, or wanting the ability to run, would influence that wide receiver group? Does that make sense?
Oh, man, big time. I see where you're going, right? I mean, if you want to run the football, if you want to run duo, or the occasional outside zone or off tackle stuff, we see Josh Jacobs making, what's the old the phrase, Clayton, the country phrase,
chicken salad out of chicken poop.
There you go. Chicken salad out of what. Yeah. So it makes sense that you would want physical wide receivers that can block in the run game. Give that deceptive, make it look like you're running a route, and then engage in a block down the field, so your running back can tear ass down the field for a tutter. So I think there's total logic behind what you're saying, for sure. And at that respect, I would take a Malik Heath over a Bo Melton. No disrespect to a Bo Melton, but Malik Heath is going to block someone to the water cooler, like we said before.
Yep.
Yeah, and we asked the old Grokster over on X and said, hey, man, what's up with Will Sheppard, right? It says, Will Sheppard, a former wide receiver for the Buffaloes, Vanderbilt Commodores, reportedly failed his NFL physical with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as noted by Fox Sports' Greg Amman. The specific reasons for his failure were not detailed in the available information, but it was reported that despite appearing healthy during Colorado's Pro Day on April 4th, he did not pass the physical examination required to join the team as an undrafted free agent. Consequently, Sheppard was not included in the Bucs' announced list of 15 undrafted free agents. He will need to seek another opportunity with the NFL team, which is obviously how we got here. So I would not be surprised after reading that. If this is that old, the Grandpa Simpson meme where he walks into the bar, sets his hat on the hat rack, does a circle, puts it right back on, and walks out the door, it might be something where he fails it here, right? So that wouldn't be surprised if that happens. And again, when we talked about some of the NFI lists, the PUP, all that stuff, Tim, this is what we were hitting on, right? Yep. You put those guys on that list. It's not that they're going to be hurt as you start camp, but this gives you a couple of days to, hey, all right, let's run some cattle through the stall here, right, and take a quick
Yep.
exam. All right, are they going to make it? No, they're not physically fit. Let's get them out of here and then get the real 53 in. Hardy the Prophet with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says competition plus competitive spirit is the equation for star density. Man, that's deep. We could look up at the end of the year and have 6 top 50 receivers. Hey, I'll tell you this, Hardy. I've said it before, and I still feel this same exact way. We don't have a true number 1 on the team as of right now. Boy, we got a room full of number 2s. I mean, we really do. I think at least 4 or 5 receivers on this team could go on to other teams and be the number 2 receiver. So,
and I love that. I love that approach. Honestly, I do, because we can look at all these other teams in the NFL and we can point right at their number 1 threat, and we know who to double. We know who to shade coverage towards. We know who to focus on. What do you do when you're 5 wide and everybody on the field is a threat and you can't really zero in or focus on one player? I love that approach. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you again, Hardy. Appreciate the super chat, buddy. You're always too kind. Ed Madden said maybe less condensed formations and more power spread with the smaller receivers. I've been thinking about this here lately, guys. I've been studying college football and college schemes. And one of the things that I've been really focused on is the Tennessee offense down here. You guys know Sampson, their running back, got drafted just now. I think he set the Tennessee school record for rushing, or maybe it was rushing touchdowns last year. You look at that and go, man, he's dominant in the SEC running the football. That's great. Well, what they do is they'll literally put 2 receivers all the way on the Baylor splits and stacked. Like they're literally 2 feet from the out of bounds line stacked. And then the opposite side of the field, 2 receivers stacked. And then they'll have the running back in the backfield. They'll actually have 3 receivers on that side too. And what you force the defense to do is you force them, do they want to play? They can't play triangle and box on both sides. They can't play box on the 3, triangle on the 2, and then still load the box against a run. Well, guess what? You got a light box. How cool. I was thinking this the other day. If I was Matt LaFleur, love the condensed sets. You don't take them out of your playbook. Add 2 or 3 sets into your playbook and come out with those Baylor splits and force. Could you imagine Josh freaking Jacobs running the football with a light box while they've got 3 and 4 defenders on the outside covering those Baylor splits? And if you're wondering what a Baylor split is, you hear us say nasty split. Nasty split is when the receivers line up inside the numbers. A Baylor split, I'm telling you, they are right on the out of bounds line. So you're stretching the defense out pre-snap horizontally. Josh Jacobs he'd be smiling like a possum in a dumpster if he had a light box to run against. There's no 2 ways about it. So
is a possum in a dumpster.
There it is. Right on cue. All right, just a couple other things we want to hit on before we wrap up here, gang. Tom Silverstein put this out earlier today. So he had tweeted out about 3 hours before this tweet. He said, Packers have released kicker Alex Hale off of the non-football injury list. He was their international pathway player, which means that spot is open. And you guys know Spoon is plugged in with the front office as good as anyone in the media. He went on to quote tweet that, and he said, freak deal with Alex Hale, suffered an eye injury while working out and needs to take several weeks off. The Packers can't let Brandon McManus do all the kicking, so they had to let him go. It's possible he returns, but depends on who the Packers pick up and how it goes. So this is more along the lines as Tim stretches the old back out over there. You're going to get the leg warmed up.
I'm just stretching, guys. I'm ready. I'm 10 minutes away from Lambeau. I'll be there. Don't worry.
This definitely, according to Spoon, and again, you see what I'm saying with Spoon's tweets and his coverage. This came from the front office. Is like, listen, boys, got to get a second kicker in here. We ain't going to let Brandon McManus just go out there and pull a
We going to bring the Narv dog back, or what's going on?
Oh, God. I'm done with Nard Dog, okay? I still got it. Yeah, I can't do it. Let's see. Chris C in the chat said, just got that Romeo Dobbs card in the mail. Thanks, PTA, for the giveaway. Thank you, Chris, for supporting us. I know Mountain Man Pack messaged us earlier. I know United Bates had tweeted at us. He won the autographed Dorsey Levens jersey. So, it's our pleasure. Thank you all so much. Just a way for us to give back to those who are supporting the channel. If you want to get yourself entered into the giveaways, all you got to do is either be a member here on YouTube, just hit that join tab, or what I prefer is go into the Patreon group, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access, or scan the QR code in the upper right. $3, access to everything on the site. All this stuff we covered tonight, you get early access to the reporting that we're going to put on there. Also, Jacob is going to be leading our fantasy football league, so you got to be a member in the Patreon group. to have a shot at entering the Fantasy Football League, which was an absolute.
Let's go.
Yeah.
What's up, Commish? We got the Commish live on the pod right now. Love it.
And if we get enough people too, that what may end up happening, we've got a backup commish. If we have to run 2 leagues, Jacob will run the top league, and then if we got more people that cannot put, can't get in time into the 8-team league, then we'll let you guys join a second league there. As well, Chuck Jaggers says, hey, Aztec. Jacob, we got to get this done, man.
It is gonna happen. Maybe how about this? How about I get Emilio to get into the league? We go double or nothing.
Oh, look, he's already going double or nothing. What? That's both cheeks? Is that what that is?
Yeah, he's got to just finish in the top 50%. So if it's 12-man league, as long as he's placed 6 or better, then I get two butt tats. If he falls out of it, then he's got to get one. Yeah. Just a beard logo on his butt.
Exactly.
Jordan,
all right, let's wrap it up with this right here. This isn't Packers, but I just wanted to kind of put a little closure on this topic here. We talked about it earlier in the offseason, and I had a couple people come at me on X and in the YouTube comments going, the Bengals are just being cheap. It's about them trying to cheat him out of guaranteed money. And I said, Adam Schefter just put a little nugget out there in an interview, a 10-minute interview one day, and said, this is about conduct detrimental to the team. And we're talking about Shamar Stewart, okay? So Bengals owner Mike Brown explaining the Shamar Stewart contract language situation, which is exactly what Adam Schefter reported. It went completely under the radar. And I'm going to play this audio, Tim. If you'll give me a screen grab real quick, anything at all work. I just want to make sure it doesn't trigger any kind of AI because of the video aspect here. But you'll throw that up for me. We'll play this audio. This is what I was talking about that Adam Schefter reported first. And again, Shamar Stewart, why are we talking about this on a Packers podcast? Shamar Stewart was a 30 visit, and we had talked about on here, man, of all the players that looks like it makes sense on our draft board, this is the one I don't want to draft, not because of conduct potentially detrimental to the team, but simply he didn't have a whole lot of production in college. Physical freak, no doubt. Here is what Mike Brown, the owner of the Bengals, had to say.
Does this one feel unique?
This one is surprising. I hesitate to get into the detail, but
kind of sounds like me after too many daddy sodas in the pool.
Turns on whether out years are guaranteed if he gets involved in conduct detrimental to football. Well, what does that mean? Detrimental to football in recent years has been violence to women. That's about the one that comes to mind. There are others probably, but that's the one that I think of. Well, if we get a player who gets involved in something like that or does something that is just unacceptable, guess what? I don't want to pay him. I really don't. If he's sitting in jail, I don't think I ought to be paying him. And so we say that if he got involved in conduct detrimental, we'd have the right to terminate the guaranteed part for the back years. He says, or his agent says, oh no, you can terminate the guaranteed part only for the remaining part of the year in which the event occurs. Oddly, something like this has never occurred in my memory with us. I don't think it's going to occur. So we're sitting here arguing over something that I think is pretty remote. And I ask myself sometimes why the hell we're doing it, but we are. And he's doing it too. And at some point, we got to put this stuff behind and just get him signed and get him up here and get him so he can be a contributor. He needs to get underway soon. It doesn't help him or us to have this strung out.
All right, so there you go. That was owner Mike Brown and Clint Armchair Quarterback. I think we figured out who was running AFAM's mom's account on here. Bub, you're still logged in as yourself. He said Mike Brown is handsome. That sounds like something AFAM's mom's account would post here in the chat. But I don't know. Did all that make sense to you guys in terms of what we kind of covered before? I mean, to me, listen, I'm a business owner. If I have an employee, someone I'm planning on partnering up with, and my reputation's on the line, and they come to me and said, "Hey, listen, I want it in my contract that if I get arrested for something illegal, you still have to pay me." I'm going to go, there's the door. Don't need this dude on my staff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Am I the only one that feels that way?
No, you don't. Because, I mean, we were talking about Rome earlier. Rome got suspended for a game conduct detrimental to the team, and he was at home. He wasn't in a jail cell. So I think it's fair to say that if a guy is locked up or facing criminal charges, that would constitute conduct detrimental to a team, I would think, right? And so if you want to get into the technicality war with an agent and argue about the specifics about what that means, how much guaranteed money should, be forfeited or whatever, that's fine. But bottom line, you're not going to convince me as someone like you, Clayton. I've owned a business too. I mean, if you're locked up in jail or facing criminal charges, you can't produce for our team. So it's detrimental to us, correct? So I don't know why we're all freaking out over this,
So can you guys clarify if I'm understanding correctly? It's not because Ed Madden's asking the same thing. He says, does Stewart have character concerns? Has he done anything? He says, I haven't heard anything about Stewart. Is the issue more of the agent and the team are like, hey, if this does occur, we want you to know that we are not going to foot the bill for somebody that's wearing the black and white, carrying around a ball and chain.
That's what's so weird about it. Jacob is like, to the best of my knowledge, he's never gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
So why make such a stink about it?
Right. And that goes back to someone who said earlier in the chat, and I'd love to give credit to whoever it was, but I know the chat's going crazy right now. They said something along the lines, God, what was it? It was, I feel like we need to go back and get it now. But it was like, it felt like when he got drafted, he didn't want to be there anyway. Maybe it's more of that.
I did see that in the chat. Yeah.
So,
do you think it's something where it's like they're trying to make something up just to get him the hell out of there?
Could be. See, we got your new toy there too.
Like this is like, you hear an owner talk like this, it's like, are there pending charges? Is there what's going on that would even make this a conversation? That's my question.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like Shemar Stewart probably don't want to be a Bengal, and I don't want you guys to take this the wrong way. Yeah, there you go. Chris Casuin says Stewart feeling himself too much. I hate the dog on the guy too much, but it's like there were already concerns about the lack of production in college and this and that, and you haven't earned a damn thing in the league yet.
Right.
I was listening. I'm a little bit of a NASCAR fan. I know the accent, that's a big surprise, right? But hearing Rusty Wallace tell a story from back in his heyday when Kevin Harvick first burst onto the scene. Rusty Wallace, it was like Kevin Harvick was just kind of running roughshod through the background, like he was just, his crap didn't stink. And Rusty pulled him to the side and said, listen, bub, this when Rusty was at his peak, like he'd, won, championship and everything. He was like, this NASCAR doesn't owe you a damn thing. That's what he said to him. Right. And you get some of these young players that step into the league, like, like their crap don't stink. It's like, but you got to kind of earn those stripes a little bit. Now I understand it's 2025 and everybody, it's all of it. It's what have you done for me lately? We've seen that over and over and over. Certain players on the team with fans, not appreciating what they've done in the past. But also on the other hand, it's kind of like I've arrived. Everybody get out of my way. All right, you've arrived. You couldn't produce worth crap in college. You got out there and ran around in your underwear and looked really good. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to have to go up against some of the top athletes in the world at the tackle position. It's going to smack you in the mouth and embarrass you. You better be able to back it up on the field if you're going to come in like you're the next coming of Lawrence Taylor. You know what I mean? So, anyway.
I like what Ed Madden said. I wouldn't want to be on the Bengals D either.
That's a fair point.
Shout out to TJ Slayton. Sorry, TJ. Good luck this year, brother.
That's right. Yeah, it is tough too because I feel like
Stop, Clayton. I just had dinner, man. What are you doing to me?
That head looks like it's wore out about 6 different bodies, doesn't it? Like they just keep attaching it to new bodies. I don't know.
That's pretty much Mr. Burns in real life, right?
That's Archie Bunker reincarnated right there.
Kind of looks like Rodney Dangerfield too, honestly.
You don't get no respect.
No respect. This guy wants to sign. No.
All right. Anything else we got, boys? We ready to wrap up here? I think we covered everything that was on the list. This was a fun episode, man. In the chat, thank y'all so much. Y'all are on fire tonight. But anything else?
I think that's it. Just a shout out to Hardy the Prophet for the super chat. Appreciate that as always. And yeah.
Definitely. And again, guys, the way that's going to work with the fantasy league in our Patreon group, once Jacob sets it up, and we're going to get him in the Patreon group, hopefully, and have him kind of communicate with you guys what site do we want to use. But once it's launched, the first come, first serve. If you're a Patreon member, you'll have the link. Go in and sign up as quick as possible. And then if we have an overflow enough for a second league, we'll do that as well. So,
yeah,
Tim,
we'll try to.
Go
Just
ahead.
real quick, I'll try to time it out. Typically, if the best time to draft is as soon as you can make it to the upcoming week 1. So, I typically don't like to do a draft until the last preseason game is over. So trying to line that up. We'll try to announce as much as we can, as soon as we can. Just check the Patreon. That's gonna be the best spot. We'll get you guys set. Try to see if there's a time and a day that kind of works best for the bulk of players or people. And then like Clayton said, we'll have another one, maybe a spillover if we get that much interest. And I think you guys would love it because it's fun, man.
It's going to be awesome, man, for sure. So with that being said, H.E. Soder says, don't insult Don Rickles.
I never would.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
All right, that's it, guys. We're out of here. Appreciate y'all. This is your first time tuning into PTA. Thank you so much for making us a part of your evening. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure the bell notification is clicked on so you know every time we go live. We're going to be going live daily. Training camps here. Cannot wait till Wednesday, but we'll be back tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central Time to talk more Packers. Y'all have a wonderful evening. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. Go Pack, go.
There we go.
We out.
Nice.
We out.
Bye, guys.